much dying, too much crying, too much. See the divine, not enough, not enough, not enough. Saying you fine, too much. Now it's on mine, too much. Get on your grind, not enough, not enough, not enough. Cause it take time, precision.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Sorry if the volume's a little too loud. I'm getting better with the adjustments for right now. Yeah, we got a new one today. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I've been not too into these. These get me a little upset. I try to keep emotional control for the sake of y'all. We gonna get started. This is Angela Faust. I'm gonna say Faust. Mom claims she didn't know how to feed her daughter, so she feeds her dog feces instead. Y'all, I'm sorry. Okay, I saw it, so y'all gotta see it. Once I saw the title, I was like, seems like my guys are gonna like this. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, jumping right in.
Darlene Fusey was born on October 2nd, 1968, and grew up in Sacramento, California to parents Nancy and Jerry Fusey. Nancy was 18 years old when Angela was born, and she already had two children born to two separate men. Jerry was described as a violent and jealous man who was associated with area biker gangs. Although many people feared him, Jerry was somewhat popular with the ladies and carried on multiple affairs throughout Nancy's pregnancy, including one with a woman named Rebecca, which resulted in another child being born. As I'm sure you've already assumed, Jerry mistreated Nancy and was regularly violent with her, even while she was pregnant with Angela. And although many people...
Not gonna lie, I didn't assume. Just because he part of the biker gang, did not assume yet.
People witnessed just how badly Jerry treated Angela. No one stepped up due to the fear of what he would do to them. When Angela was about 5 years old, Nancy finally worked up the courage to leave Jerry. She filed for divorce, finally reclaiming her life for her and her now 5 children, 3 of which were Jerry's. Unable to cope with the fact that Nancy had moved on with her life, Jerry began to stalk her. After a night of dancing at an area nightclub, Nancy went missing. On July 22, 1973, she was found dead on the side of a river road in Redding.
Jeez.
Young mother had been violently stabbed 29.
God damn, gang. Probe on and death of mother. Let's take this middle one. Yuba City. The body of a young woman found slain during the weekend with 29 stab wounds was identified by authorities today. That of Nancy D. Fusey, 23, bro. 23, mother of 5, bro. God damn. I know that life had to be hard, bro. My mother, I think she had my oldest brother when she was 17, yo. My second brother when she was like, she had to be like early, like mid-20s, and then me when she was 32. That's 3 boys, and like I can already, but a house of 5 at 23 is crazy, bruh. Fisherman discovered the body Sunday morning in a remote area of Pleasant Grove Road. The woman was clad in a miniskirt and bikini-type brief. A blouse was found nearby. Oh man, she was stabbed 22 times in the chest and stomach and 7 times in the left arm. For what? All authorities said she was killed elsewhere, and her body transported to the Sutter County site where it was found. She reportedly was separated from her husband
9 times. Allegedly, Jerry confessed to killing his ex-wife to one of his friends, and his own mother turned him into the authorities. However, the police didn't want to hear any of this. Rather than look at the most likely suspect in this case, the authorities claimed that Nancy had just simply fallen victim to an unknown serial killer and lumped her in.
But it's like, bro, okay, so like, because the last one we did, it was something similar to this. I think it was the last one with the baby girl. No, the one where the dresser was found on top of the baby. Bro, why the fuck are all the cops so fucking stupid? Like, what do you mean instead of looking at the obvious... Bro, the obvious victim is the person who was stalking her, and he was already known to be a violent man and beat her. So if she decided to slide and he didn't like that she slid, of course he might catch her off of one day, getting off of work, going based off the outfit she was going out dancing. She probably was either walking to her car, what I'm saying, walking down the road, walking on the way home, whatever the case may be. Next thing you know, bag. You know what I'm saying? Like it. I mean, okay, let me wait because they didn't say anything about him going to jail. So maybe he went to jail.
With other victims of what is now known as the Santa Rosa hitchhiker murders. In addition, police suspected that she could have been the victim of Ted Bundy, Gary Ridgway, and even the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, whoa.
In 2012, Angela's younger brother George penned the book Inside Those Walls, and this book outlined the horrors that the children suffered in the wake of their mother's murder and the violence inflicted upon them by her likely killer. As of the date of this recording in October of 2024, Nancy Fusey's murder remains unsolved. This left Angela and her siblings in the care of Jerry.
Not gonna lie, that adds a whole different element. Would not even have thought that would have been something that was like thinking about Ted Bundy. I know everybody who watches me, or I'm guessing most of the people have seen it's the guy from Ted Bundy's the Netflix adaptation was based. The main character was the dude from One Tree Hill, Lucas Scott. Chad Michael Murray? I don't know if that's his name, but skinny white guy. He has a beard actually similar to this, but I think it's more blonde. Like I didn't know much about Ted, but I don't really subscribe to that type of stuff because I don't like to hear too much about people being eliminated based off of another person because it just kind of shows me into the mind of how dark a human can get, like the human soul or the human spirit. Not really a fan, but like based off the Netflix adaptation, I can imagine like because if I remember correctly, Ted was going around. He was going from state to state, like going crazy. So I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, at least based off how they made it seem in the Netflix adaptation, he ain't really give a fuck. Like he was just going and just going crazy. So like, I mean, I remember correct, if this is the one that I'm thinking of, I could have sworn, I think it is the Chad Michael Murray dude, but or whatever his name is, Lucas. I'm gonna call him Lucas. But he said when he walked out of the building and the policewoman walked up to him, he was like, "I'm invisible. I can't be touched." Then he disappeared, never to be found. So like, that's a scary, like a person without the moral compass of what rules are supposed to be set in place for. That's a scary individual. So like, I can understand, bro. I can understand. He probably just swam right through the area. The other two, I didn't even know about. I've never heard of the Zodiac Killer. I've never heard of that.
Soon Jerry was shacking up with Rebecca, his mistress that he got pregnant during Nancy's pregnancy. In all, there were 8 children living in this house, which included 2 of Nancy's children from a previous relationship, and Nancy and Jerry's 3 children, Rebecca and Jerry's 1 child, and
Claim that Jerry and Rebecca shared 2 children.
2 children Rebecca brought in from a previous relationship. This is a little confusing to you. We don't blame you. It should also be noted that these 8 children and 2 adults were living in a small 2-bedroom house. That's 10 people in a small 2-bedroom home.
Well, I just not to like, I ain't trying to pause too much, y'all, but I just watched a video about I guess you can call it like, I guess you could say it's like a small island, and it's an island of people where like, so like, I'm gonna see if I can find it later, but it's an island of people where like, the island is like so small, you could literally walk an hour from side to side, and it's like trash everywhere because they don't have anywhere to put it because it's literally just them on the island. The government comes every night, like I think every day or a couple times a week to like bring them clean water and stuff. They like washing and recycling their clothes and like I guess you could say like the hallways of the island, but the hallways would be ideally streets, and like it'd be like 12 people inside of a 1 bedroom with like 2 beds and then no space. Like they were making houses on top of each other just so that they can live. And then when the kids get old enough and they marry somebody else from the island, the parents and the kids will build a home above them so that they can stay within the family. but like people don't really leave the island, so like it's just a continuous cycle. They was like one of the women who was like, I guess you could call her a doula in this case. She had delivered like 75%, I think like 75% of the kids on the island, which is crazy. Like that small of a society, but then you see something like this, and you see something that say 10 kids, and you're like, oh shit, like that's.
As I'm sure you can imagine, this wasn't one big happy blended family. Nancy's children became the family's scapegoats. Jerry would often beat and starve his children as punishment for things that he felt they did wrong. Unlike Rebecca's children, Angela and her siblings wouldn't receive presents for Christmas or their birthdays. They were also forbidden from talking about their dead mother, and they had to pretend that Nancy didn't exist. This was reportedly difficult for Angela, who was close to her late mother. Even more disturbing was the fact that due to their tender ages, many of Nancy's children didn't even know that Rebecca wasn't their biological mother. But soon, Jerry started beating Rebecca in front of the children, following the same cycle of violence that he once inflicted upon Nancy. Some of his tactics included dragging her into the bathroom and beating her with his fist so badly that blood would spatter about. He'd close her head in the door, but that wasn't even the worst of it. According to sources, Jerry once dragged Rebecca into the garage, tied her torture style to a table, doused her with gasoline, and then taunted her with a lit match. Had he gone through with it and actually lit her on fire, I'm sure the area police would just blame a serial killer again. This, like many of Jerry's...
Yerby is her name. I like the way she said that, because the way that her face changed was exactly like, that's the type of face that you would make. Like...
and actually lit her on fire. I'm sure the area police would just blame a serial killer.
Right there. This face right here. This is the face of somebody that is like, bro, that's complete bullshit. Because... would it, okay, so I get the whole concept of the, because you got to take into account, right? If he was part of the local biker gangs, there are like hundreds upon hundreds of movies, adaptations, books, you know what I'm saying, TV shows about how the biker gangs would generally rule the town. You know, if it's, let's say it's like a market that sells like snacks and juice and regular like knickknacks, small things you're going to need for the household, they'll go in and be like, oh, you got to pay us protection money type of thing. This could have been one of them situations where the gangs were paying the police to, you know, to do whatever it is that they please, or to pretty much just leave them alone, or they could have just bombarded the police with like threats of violence, or, you know, setting the precinct on fire, because clearly fire is his fucking play to it. Just these different threats. And if this dude Jerry was like that guy, he could have easily been one of those people where the feds was just like, I'm not gonna touch him. Like, I don't want to be involved. I don't want my family to be involved. We also got to consider, I think if I remember correctly, they said Sacramento. If they are in a smaller space or a smaller like town, like a more rural area, then that will probably mean that they would be able to control the police force, or just generally control people. Or he's one of those people, because I used to know people like that too, like people going through DV, and when they operate in DV, the woman is like, oh, he's not going to do it again, I still love him, I forgive him, etc., etc. When in reality, and this is always weird for me to say, because I really do believe in keeping families together, families, children, husband, wife. I believe in all that. But that is something that I do believe should be unforgivable. There is no reason that you should be putting your hands on another person. I don't believe in it. I don't think that there is any reason, either gender, either side, that you should be putting your hands on your partner, the person you're supposed to be in union with. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of people's cases, your soulmate. This person is supposed to be your ride or die, your one and only, etc. Especially if you go through the process of marriage, because it's a lot harder to divorce somebody than it is to get married. Just those different concepts, I don't believe that you should be putting your hands on your partner. So, like, and then doing this in front of the kids does a immense amount of damage to them mentally. To see that this is something that will be a regular occurrence, and them having to, children are sponges to take that particular information in mentally and be able to see like, hey, mom is getting beat. Mom doesn't want us to think about our past mom or the past woman who, was around and she's gone now, etc., etc. It's just too much. It's too many connecting pieces. My fault for the pause.
Again, this, like many of Jerry's violent outbursts, was actually witnessed by the children. As sad as that is, it was actually one of the children that managed to get Jerry to stop. Angela, too, bore the brunt of many of Jerry's violent outbursts and knew it was time to make her escape. After she graduated from high school, Angela met a man who worked for the traveling carnival. She traveled with him to different towns while he worked, escaping her life back in Eugene and Jerry. Unfortunately, Angela began to use drugs with the carnival workers. This was just the start of a string of horrible choices, and Angela began the vicious cycle of violence all over again with her own family.
Flash forward now to the 1990s. People who knew Angela described her as being a high-strung and controlling woman who worked as a cashier at a discount store. She once lived in her car and tried to isolate her children from others, including her own family. On August 9th, 1993, Angela gave birth to a daughter named Jeanette Marie Maples with a man named Anthony. The couple lived in Sacramento and had 3 children together in the 1990s, but they were never married. Jeanette was the youngest of the 3 with 2 older brothers. Anthony Maples spent most of the 90s in and out of prison because of his drug addiction. As we mentioned earlier, Angela also had a drug habit and was violent with the children while Anthony was in jail. The state of California took the 3 children and put them in foster care in 1995 when Jeanette was about a year old. When Angela got out of jail, she ended up pregnant with another daughter. But unfortunately, she was able to regain custody of Jeanette in 2001 after she had spent the past 5.5 years in foster care. However, Jeanette's 2 older brothers remained in foster care after the boys wrote a letter to the family court judge and asked not to be returned to their mother. This should have been a massive red flag for the family court system, but apparently it wasn't. Angela and her 2 daughters moved to Oregon from the Sacramento Valley area in 2005. Once they had moved, Anthony lost touch with his only daughter as Angela would not return his calls and tried to keep him from seeing Jeanette. Jeanette grew into a quiet and shy girl with dark hair. She liked school and won 2 awards for perfect attendance in middle school. She liked to read books in the school library and write her own poetry. She kept a note.
I just realized how, this is, based on the title of the video, we didn't even get into where the title is at yet. And these people are going through so much fucking pain. This is crazy. So much pain. Immense pain. Foster system, DV, a past mother for 2 of the children, at least from what the description said. And then they gotta live in the house in a small place. It's tentative people. It's bro. We didn't even get into where it's at yet. I'm already sad for the family, bro. It's already too much. It's too much. Just think whatever kid was I say the last one. I feel like the last one has it the absolute worst. The last one. The first one, the escaping to the traveling carnival, I was disappointed because of the drugs, but the escape is it's a double-edged sword. So the escape was the positive part, and then the drugs was the other half. You got to think about whatever the fuck she was going through before. I mean, something to turn the fucking brain off, I guess, was needed in that situation. But the youngest kid has to have it the worst, because the youngest kid got to see that shit with everybody. The youngest kid got to see that with the older sister, the mother, and and they don't even know, the youngest kid probably don't even know about the past mother, the stepmother, the one who got stabbed 29 times.
Notebook and a journal filled with poems she had written. Jeanette one day dreamt of being a chef, a librarian, or a poet. Angela would send Jeanette to school wearing ratty sweatpants and stained shirts. Jeez. Several kids in her class would make fun of her appearance, but Jeanette was so focused on her teachers and being at school that it did not bother her as it would for most kids her age.
Good job.
The school day ended and it was time to go home. Jeanette's friends noticed that her demeanor would sharply change and she would get sad, withdrawn, and anxious. 2005, Angela married Richard Anthony McNulty, 6'2" bulky, long-haul trucker who was about a year younger than she was. Soon she moved Jeanette and her younger sister to Oregon to live with her new stepfather. After the couple married, Angela gave birth to Richard's son. The family moved to a house on Robin Avenue in Eugene, Oregon in early 2006. Jeanette was enrolled at Cascade Middle School, where she liked learning and spending time with her few friends. Jeanette graduated from the 8th grade in June of 2008. A counselor at the school said that the staff there truly cared about Jeanette. We took her under our wings when we could.
Good job.
Teachers, classmates, and other school employees began to notice certain things about Jeanette. She looked skinny for her age and height, and she was always hungry. While at school, Jeanette's friends shared their lunches with her, and she also got extra food from the lunch ladies who took a liking and obviously had some pity for her. About this time, Jeanette wrote a letter to her teacher and said that she was not allowed to have food at home. She said that she was forced to eat hot chili peppers and sit on her knees for long periods of time as a punishment. Some of those times, Jeanette was forced to hold heavy objects that hurt her more. The teacher gave the note to the school officials, and they alerted the department.
What? I mean, I think it was 4th grade, right? I got in trouble once. This was in 4th grade. And I was in a school in DC, and there was this I don't even remember if he was a teacher or just a disciplinarian, but his name was Mr. Singletary, right? Skinny black dude, real like gentlemanly type demeanor, real calm, cool type demeanor. And I can't remember what it is that I did. I might have gotten into a fight in school, and he took me to the top floor of the school and made me hold textbooks and do the little, what is it, the invisible chair squat for like hours, bro. Chili peppers sitting on her knees all day. Y'all do, I want y'all to understand, like, you know, in Buddhism, in the monasteries, like the hardcore Shaolin training, they will have the kids like standing on their heads and doing things to build strength training. This is not for strength training. It's just a punishment, like all day. Like, bro, do you understand how long I would be outside of my crib after school if I knew that that's what was coming my way, bro? All chili peppers is crazy. That shit probably burning her insides, and then it's probably burning her fat, but she doesn't have any because she doesn't eat. So to be able to survive even a little bit, right? She would have to take the lunch from school, extra pack it, meal prep it, or like put it to the side. She seemed like a very smart young lady, but meal prep it, hold it until the next day, run it back, and then just keep that cycle going all year. So she would just have consistent food, bro. That's crazy, bro. She would literally have to sneak food into her own home. And that's just a piece of it. I mean, good thing she wasn't worried about her material. I will say, like, that is a very strong mindset to have, to not be worried about your physical appearance in terms of her clothes. Because, man, kids could be cool, bro.
Department of Human Services, which opened an investigation into Jeanette's claims. A DHS caseworker made a home visit and interviewed Angela, Richard, and the two younger children. Each person gave a different story that did not match up with what Jeanette claimed. Caseworker noticed that the home was fully stocked with food, and there should have been no reason to believe that Jeanette was skinny because the family did not have the means to feed her. Angela pulled the caseworker aside and told her that Jeanette was a compulsive liar. DHS closed the file as unable to determine. Jeanette and a friend.
Bruh, it's going from the feds to the caseworkers. The caseworker's job is to make sure that the child is fit and of sound mind and body inside their home, safe in all regards. How the fuck do y'all see the girl? You see her, bro. She's physically emaciated and unable to determine is what you come up with because the mother says she's a compulsive liar? Why isn't the baby eating? Why is the baby eating so heavy at school? Like, come on, bro. Just fucking, like, common sense ain't common, bro.
Friend were in gym class one day and changing out of their gym clothes when her friend noticed bruises and marks on her stomach and back.
Good.
After trying to convince her friend that she had fallen and gotten hurt, Jeanette opened up to her and told her she had gotten the injuries from being punished at home.
Good.
Her friend went home and told her mother about Jeanette's injuries and told her how worried she was about her. Friend's mom called DHS to report the violence, which added to the report that was already filed by the school. Once Angela found out Jeanette had told her friend what had happened to her, she removed her from school and began to homeschool her. We see this often in cases that we cover on this channel when a parent is starting to become suspected that they are hurting their children. Jeanette's 2 younger siblings did stay at school, however. So, Jeanette was the only one getting homeschooled, another red flag. This left Angela and Jeanette alone with each other during the entire day.
Angela treated Jeanette differently from all of her other children, and she too became the family scapegoat. Now, a scapegoat is a person or a thing that is blamed for something bad that someone else has done. The word actually comes from the Bible, where it refers to a pair of goats that were released into the wilderness to carry away the sins of the community. A child might be scapegoated by being singled out as the bad one in the household. This can lead to emotional and psychological distress, and it can make it difficult for the child to believe they are worthy, competent, or likable. And even
I was about to say, like when you put that kind of pressure on a child, it makes them feel like they're not enough. I feel like that's, I mean, it's common in every household. I'm a black man, so that's all I can attest to. But like, as a black man, I could definitely see that. I've been knew I was the black sheep a long time ago, bro. No matter what anybody said, no matter how different I was, no matter how I thought, my mind, the way I process things, the way I think about life, existence, people, their spirit, moral compass, bro. I know a lot of y'all know, bro. I know a lot of y'all know. I literally write my music for those people because it's just, it could be heavy, bro. It don't matter which child you are, neither. I'm the baby of my 3, 4, 5 siblings between my mother and my father's side, and I knew, like, I have no problem with being that person now, but it took until I got to this age to understand, like, bro, it's okay. You are enough. You have to be able to talk to those inner children, but she's going through this as a child, and it's her mother doing it. Like, that's a heavy amount. That's a heavy amount of manipulation into, like, her general psyche as she gets older. She done already called the girl the compulsive liar. They've been torturing the girl. They done fed her peppers. They done beat the girl. They done stopped her from eating. They don't allow her to eat. The social worker comes to the house here, fully stocked fridge of food. Then it takes for another little girl to see her body and then tell her mother to tell DHS that, or DCPS, that the baby she's afraid for the baby. And then they pull her out of homeschool. So they didn't say it, but my guess is, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong about this, right or wrong, but I've never experienced homeschool, but I'm assuming that if they pull them from the school, it creates kind of like a block on the available, like the claim itself. Like, does it slow the claim or like stop the claim? Because I'm guessing that's where they're getting to without saying it, because it sounds like they said it a lot of the times we see when it happens. I'm guessing that like stops something. I mean, of course, like the teachers and stuff couldn't investigate because that's no longer their student. However, there has to be like somebody got to come and check on the baby.
in more severe cases, the child might suffer mistreatment from their caregivers or other siblings. Jeanette was not allowed to talk to her younger sister and brother and would be punished if she did so. Angela put locks on the cabinet to keep Jeanette from getting to food and controlled what she ate or drank during the day. When it was time for the family to sit down for their evening meal, Angela would give Jeanette less food than the other children or make her miss the meal altogether. Angela removed hose spigots, turned off the water supply under sinks, and installed locks in the bathroom door. She forced Jeanette to ask for permission before she could have something to drink or go to the bathroom. Sometimes she would not let Jeanette have water or use the bathroom because she figured out that Jeanette had been drinking water from the toilet and from the dog's water dish.
Jeanette was always in trouble with her.
Bruh, like, this is baffling to me. It's irritating the shit out of me how bad this baby was treated, bro. Like, I know the past couple of videos we've been going through like kids and infants and like, 2 and younger, but like this little girl, bruh, like to still be existing is strong enough, because that's a lot of fucking pain, bro. That's a lot of generalized physical, mental, spiritual pain. Like that's a lot. Just, bro. I will say again. I'm gonna say it again. She's a smart young lady. She did what she had to do. She did what she had to do to survive. Gotta commend her. Like, you gotta commend her strength.
Her mother for minor things and was punished more than her sister and brother. She was forced to eat hot peppers or stand or kneel in a corner for a long time, sometimes while holding something heavy to make the situation more painful. Angela would punch, slap, scratch, and kick Jeanette all over her body. Jeanette had bruises and cuts all over her, and even some broken teeth from the attacks.
Before we continue, y'all, and this is going to be hopefully one of the last times I pause, because I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to get through this one. This one's pissing me off. I hope that two main outcomes. I hope that the baby escapes, that she please found a happy home, because if this goes forward and something happens to the baby before she was able to experience what a happy life with people who are not damaged and who know how to take care of a child, like she gets in that type of home, I'm gonna be real like dumbfounded, because everybody could have stopped this shit. Like everybody could have put a pause on all this dumbass shit, and we just gonna keep undetermined, yet to be determined, all this dumbass fluffy shit in the middle of the baby being beaten every way possible. Like, bro, how many times did they have to go to the store to go get hot peppers specifically for the baby? You see what I'm saying? What type of devices did they have to use to constantly beat the baby? Before I paused it, he said broken teeth. The other outcome, this one I gotta say out loud. I really hope that she does not continue this cycle, because it seems like she's a bright, intelligent, and very nice young lady. She just seems very strong, a very strong young lady, and just able to literally roll with the punches. I just hope they do not change her into being a bad guy, like a generally bad person.
Angela used belts and sticks to hit Jeanette on the back, bottom, and legs, causing cuts that would bleed heavily. The 2 younger siblings saw their mother hit Jeanette with a wooden spoon that had been heated in boiling water. Her younger brother said his mom used a pair of pliers on Jeanette's head, pinky toe, and cheek.
Oh my.
When Angela would discipline Jeanette, as she called it, she always did so behind closed doors so others could not see what was going on. She would make Jeanette go into a bedroom and turn on the vacuum or turn up the volume on the TV so the younger children would not hear what was happening. Richard said, "You could hear the whips. It was horrifying. I didn't know what was going on. Her mom would have her strip naked and whip her." After some more of these violent attacks, Angela would put iodine on the wounds and try to bandage the injuries herself. Richard never tried to step in or demand that Jeanette be taken to a doctor or a dentist for the injuries, and Angela continued to try to treat them in private.
So we just gonna glaze past that, like he don't gotta take some accountability for the fact that the little girl is being beaten. Now, given I understand that is not his child. However, she is still a human with flesh, and she's beating and breaking her body.
During the summer of 2009, Richard had a heart attack while driving cross country and ended up in a California hospital for open heart surgery.
Damn.
Angela and the children showed up at the hospital. After seeing Jeanette, Richard's mother Lynn said, "She looked bad, really thin. Her hair had been chopped off, and she had a busted lip." When Richard came home from the hospital, the family moved from their home on Robin Avenue to a house on Howard Avenue. As Richard recovered from surgery and was not able to be out working, Angela's treatment of Jeanette got worse. Jeanette lost more weight and had more serious injuries that got infected.
Bro, how much weight does the baby lose? Like, oh, bro, like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. Bro. why the fuck are you beating the baby because of the fucking
Angela would
dude who is, maybe, are you pressing? You are pressing spacebar. That's you.
make her
I, he's on bed rest. What the fuck did she do? Is my question. What did she do to she's already getting beat enough, bro. Like, I mean, damn, like, I've seen my grandmother take a switch off the branch in the fucking apartment cul-de-sac tree and beat my cousins with them. My mother spike belts in the freezer, whatever. At the end of the day, it's still not this. Like, goddamn, like, Jesus, I'm tired of hearing about how much. We still haven't gotten to this. Mom claims she didn't know how to feed her daughter, so she fed her dog feces instead. We have not gotten to this part. This complete video is 25:16. We are at 12:50. That's about halfway. Why the fuck? We have heard every fucking torture possible for these families, between the dude, the woman, the other woman, the fucking baby, and then Jeanette. What the fuck? Is it just me? Like, what the
collect
fuck?
dog feces in the yard after
There
Jeanette
it
was
is.
tied up and unable to move, would rub it on her face and mouth. Towards the end of November 2009, Richard's mother, Lynn, anonymously called the state child welfare officials after seeing Jeanette when Richard was in the hospital. Lynn had become
because you telling me at no point did this man think I might need to do something for this baby, bro. He could have took her in the dead of night and escaped this fucking place. You married to the woman, understood. You love her, fucking sure. But at the end of the day, bro, I've said this in multiple videos. I believe this heavily. The babies come first, bro. Take the girl away. She just keeps torturing the girl. Like, the kids said they didn't want to be with the mother. And she's taking her away from her siblings, telling her not to talk to them, and then beating the shit out of her. Like, come on, dog. Like, come on, bro. These stories just keep getting worse. And I keep thinking, like, we gonna find a story, and it's gonna be rough, but it's something to, like, kind of go through. I might not have to pause too much, and we can get all the way through it. But, like, these wild-ass, dumb-ass fucking humans, these creatures of the night, keep fucking with these babies, bro, and it's irking me.
suspicious of how Angela was treating Jeanette at home, especially since she had been kept from seeing any of her grandchildren.
In early December 2009, Jeanette had a significant blow to her head during one of her punishments. She was confused and had trouble walking and standing after the injury. December 9th, 2009, Jeanette fell asleep on the floor and became unresponsive. So Angela and Richard picked her up and put her in the bathtub. When she would not wake up, Richard called his mother and asked for help with what to do next. Lynn, of course, told them to call 911 as soon as possible.
Are you fucking kidding me? She's unresponsive, and the first thing you do is call your mother? Dude, I see why you were her. You're a bitch. Like, that's what that is. You're a full-fledged bitch. Because there is no fucking way, bruh. You knew she was beating the shit out that baby, and you ain't do nothing about it. You gonna wait until she's unresponsive on the floor. Y'all gonna take her in a tub, put her in cold water. Bro, that shit works with people who are undergoing rehab. That's drug-based. I've never heard of a person having a concussion and waking up off of cold water. What I have heard, though, is a person having a concussion, being unresponsive, and going to the fucking hospital. Like, what the fuck? I'm getting tired, y'all. I'm getting tired mentally. This is stressing me out, bro. It's 13:41, and I'm just... we still haven't gotten to the point, bro. Once I heard feces, I'm like, okay, I can calm the fuck down. Like, it's fucking bad. It's terrible, absolutely. But at least we got to the point of the video. We still ain't get there yet, bro. They keep adding shit on top of shit, bro. I feel like I forgot his name, but I remember seeing Yerby in the corner. I feel like they probably have a stressful time telling these stories. Cause good lord, bro.
Richard's call to 911 came in at 8:04 p.m., and first responders arrived at the house to find Jeanette lying on her back in the dark living room. Angela met with the first responders in the driveway and told them, "Help my baby." She blurted out that she had been out shopping and that Jeanette fell down after an argument with her younger brother. Angela insisted that Jeanette was fine when she left about an hour before the 911 call was made. During the exchange, Richard kept quiet and did not speak to them the entire time the first responders were in the house.
I knew he was a fucking bitch. You're a fucking coward, bro. You're a coward, dog. You're a coward, dog. You're a coward, dog. There is nothing about that woman that is that good in between physical exchange, between how she makes you feel, between her support system in the household. There is nothing that woman was doing that was that good that would make you shut the fuck up about what was going on with that baby. You knew something was wrong. You're an accessory. You're fucking slime. That's some dirty shit, bro. That's some dirt. You knew you should have bagged her, bro. You should have been bagged her, bro. She should have been in the jail, bro.
Jeanette's hair was wet, and she did not have a shirt on when paramedics got to her. She had bruises on her face and cuts above her eye. Jeanette was so frail and skinny that you could see her bones through her skin, and was so small for her age that the fire captain asked Angela several times how old she was. He simply could not believe that she was 15. Jeanette did not have a pulse when help arrived. CPR was started on her and a tube was put in her throat to help her breathe. The fire captain also noticed how strange Angela was acting about the situation. She was agitated, then became quiet, and then was hysterical. She even laughed a couple of times. He said, "She was very odd. I felt the hair on the back of my neck. I have never had that feeling in 18 years. All I wanted to do was run."
Jeanette was rushed to Sacred Heart Medical Center at Riverbend Hospital and sadly was pronounced dead at 8:42 p.m. Emergency room doctor Elizabeth Hilton noted that her front teeth were broken.
What did I just say, bro? Why, bro? Why did she have to go through so many of life's tests with one of the darkest creatures on the earth just to fucking pass before she had the opportunity to fully experience her life, bro? She's 15 years old, dog. Fucking 15, bro.
And she had severe wounds on her legs and back. One wound on her hip was so nasty that the flesh was torn away and you could see the bone.
Stop.
Dr. Hilton met with the family and Angela told her that Jeanette had been eating but got very skinny lately. Angela later told investigators, "The reason why she's so skinny, honest to God, is when she split her lip a while back. I did not know how to feed her." Prosecutors later described Jeanette as having the appearance of a concentration camp victim.
She did not know how to feed her because she had a split lip. Who the fuck ate that shit? Who ate that shit? Who thought that was, oh yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense? Like, bro, they described her as looking like a concentration camp victim. We are in, if I remember correctly, didn't they say we in the 90s now in this story? What the fuck? There was a full house of food. What are you talking about? She could have ate soup, bruh. She could have had juice, bruh. She could have ate fruit, bruh. It's a whole bunch of shit that she could have consumed that would not have interacted with that lip. So whoever the fuck ate that shit and thought that shit was fucking, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, it should be burned at the fucking stake, bro. Like, this is ridiculous. She's hysterical, she's crying, she laughing, she going through all these motions, and she didn't know how to feed her because she split her lip. Ain't that the dumbest shit you ever heard? Ain't that some of the that's a dumbass excuse. I split my lip, so I'm not gonna eat now. Do you know how many times I would not be eating if I based it off of the fact that I split my lip? Why is the 15-year-old baby got no teeth? What the fuck?
Authorities were not able to pinpoint a single cause of death because of the severity of Jeanette's starvation, dehydration, physical injuries, and infections. Her cause of death was listed as multifactorial abuse and neglect.
I've never even heard that term before. I've never even heard those words put together before. I've never heard in all of my time of ever watching or seeing a video or a movie or a TV show, multifactorial abuse and neglect. Can we put this bitch in the jail now? Please, bro. Like, god damn, dog. Like, it's time. It's time. Put her in, bro.
Angela and Richard left the hospital and went with detectives to the sheriff's office for questioning.
Please.
However, before they left the hospital, Angela and Richard talked about blaming Richard for Jeanette's death. Angela assumed that there was a possibility that authorities might go easier on him because of his heart condition. At the sheriff's office, detectives separated the couple.
Fuck no. You not about to tell me. You not about to tell me that she get off scot-free and he took the fucking fall. And he believed that dumbass shit about them taking it easy because he got a heart condition. Let me make something very clear. There are people who have actual mental disabilities, like be actually going through shit, don't actually disassociate themselves from reality, actual split personalities, actual bipolar disorder. And these people may eliminate somebody by accident. They will still go to jail. And the worst part about that is that those people actually need help and rehabilitation or some sort of support for what it is that they have and the actual condition. Them police don't give a fuck about your heart. They don't care, bro. That is a fact. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Based off what happened to that baby, when they get you and they realize that you admitted to the neglect and multifactorial abuse, when you go to jail, they gonna beat your ass. People in jail don't fuck with shit like that. They will beat your ass every day once they learn of how severe that baby was treated. So there is no, bruh, you not, I'm telling you, bruh, if he take the fall, bruh, I'm gonna get hurt. I'm telling y'all right now. If you take the fall, I'm gonna get hurt. 1 second, I gotta turn on the light. I'm telling you right now. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just going to turn on the light. You come right back. Promise. I'm telling you right now, bruh. I'm telling you right now. Bruh. I'm telling you right now. That better not be the case, bruh. I'm telling you right now.
Read them their Miranda rights and interviewed them. Richard first told detectives that he spanked Jeanette, but he later said that this was not true. He had agreed to take the blame for her injuries. Angela also started to blame Richard, but slipped up and started to make self-incriminating statements.
Yes, sir.
Angela and Richard were both arrested on the night of Jeanette's death and were charged with aggravated murder as a result of intentional maiming and torture. A social worker from the Oregon Department of Human Services called Jeanette's father, Anthony Maples, at his home in Sacramento, California, to tell him about his daughter's death and the charges against Angela and Richard. Anthony said, "I am so crushed by this. I know that I have to accept this as God's will, but it is disgusting that this happened to my little angel."
Oh shit.
Search warrants were executed.
Know what was going on. That's why they didn't bring up the dad, bro. This must end.
For both the Howard Avenue and Robert Avenue homes. Police found blood and other DNA evidence and noticed that someone had attempted to clean up some of the evidence. A garbage bin at the Howard Avenue house had several blood-stained items inside, including sticks, belts, clothing, bedding, and a piece of cardboard that Angela forced Jeanette to sleep on at night. Blood was splattered on the floor, walls, and ceiling of the house. Leather belts and other torture devices were recovered, along with chunks of Jeanette's flesh.
No.
Lynn McNulty had...
Come on, like, why is that had to be an added piece, bruh? Y'all telling me y'all beat the baby and at least didn't get her separated skin from out of the house? Bro, come on, bro.
Had the hard job of cleaning out the family's home after her son and daughter-in-law were arrested and the two younger children were taken into state custody. Thankfully, a nonprofit organization offered to take over the cleanup, and all furniture and useful items were donated to the organization's homes for recovering alcoholics and drug addicts.
No.
While
No,
waiting for the trial.
I'm sorry. That shit is being set on fire, okay? There was an eliminated child, an abusive household, blood and everything else possible in that house, and a woman beating her daughter. It's being burned. It's being burned. I'm as much as I like the alcoholics and recovering addicts, they need couches and furniture and all. I completely understand and giving it to a good cause, but there's just some things I do not believe need to be transferred from person to person. I do believe furniture holds energy. We can't just be walking around and then the next thing you know, somebody passed, and then the next thing you know is some shit going on. Usually with me, I ain't never seen anything supernatural happen to me. Nothing that I know of. Everything to me happens in the ethereal. Everything that happens to me is usually a dream. It's something I gotta write down. It's something that it's a weird it's just a weird occurrence, and it can happen between anything. I know some people with me, I know one of the things, I don't eat beef before I go to sleep, because anytime that I eat beef, like a burger or steak or something like that, I don't eat pork, but anytime that I eat beef or something like that, and you're supposed to give your food an hour to digest. Anytime I don't do that and I go right to sleep, usually that has a bad effect. It's always a wild ass dream. It's one of those dreams where it be that fucking 30-foot giant and you be trying to punch that junk and then that junk does nothing. You do nothing to damage the giant. It's one of those dreams where it's a dream and you can't get out of it. It always be some weird ass shit. So no, I would not be transferring those items to those people, especially because those people need help for their particular vices and addictions. I don't think the best way to bring them fucking positive vibes is to bring them a passed away girl's furniture where she was beaten bloodily and her flesh was still kept in the house.
Trial, Angela was held at Lane County Jail in Eugene, Oregon. She first entered a not guilty plea, but later changed it to guilty on the first day of her trial. During sentencing hearing, Angela's other daughter, as well as her mother-in-law, Lynn, took the stand to testify against her.
Today was probably the most graphic so far, a witness to everything that happened in the McAnulty home. Because she's under 18, no cameras were allowed in the courtroom again today. This was Jeanette Maples' half-sister, but the 13-year-old girl said her mother treated them all very differently. Were allowed to play video games and watch TV. Jeanette was not even allowed to talk to anybody. Patience's testimony was much different than her stepfather's, Richard McAnulty, who finished his testimony this morning. She says she knew what was going on, but her mother reminded them all daily what goes on in the house stays in the house.
She wasn't allowed to speak to anybody without her mom's permission. That she was so skinny that she didn't have anything on her. She was just skinny, and she just looked worn out for a 15-year-old.
Lynn says she told her son Jeanette needed to see a doctor, and later.
Bro, one thing I didn't even think about, bro, is there's situations where you get beaten, right? I know some of y'all probably been spanked, y'all been whooped, whatever you want to call it. One of the things as I got older, I started to get kind of accepting of is the fact that at a certain point, I gained enough mass at that point where I could take it. You know what I mean? You could take the brunt of a hit. Not all of them. After some time, it's gonna break. You're gonna break down. You might cry a little bit. You might sit in the corner, blah blah blah. Especially if your mother's the type of mother that would strip you before they beat you, right? One of the things that I've realized in this case is that the reason that her flesh was coming off is because of the fact that the mother had nothing to beat. And that right there is a crazy statement to make. That is insane. She was literally ripping the flesh off the child. And it takes a very special type of demon to be able to do some shit like that and then just go in your room and go to sleep. Just go and have dinner and then go to sleep and kiss the other kids goodnight and they get a good night. And she gets no presence, no happiness. She gets beat for shit she wasn't doing. The other two get like the best possible life, but they also have to look at their half sister getting the shit beat out of her, teeth knocked out, and all this, that, and the third, all this ass whooping for a 15-year-old, and she's literally sitting in class reading her books, writing her poems. Like that is a crazy build, bro. That is a crazy build. That baby was probably meant for so much success, and it was taken away at 15 fucking years old, and it just.
She says Angela used the excuse that her daughter had the H1N1 flu.
Her husband, Richard McNulty, later pled guilty to murder in April of 2011.
It was right here, the Lane County Courthouse in 2011, when Angela McNulty was sentenced to death. And while a judge has ruled she should get a new trial, the case is now in the hands of the Oregon Attorney General's office, where they could fight that ruling. Child welfare advocates I spoke to today say the case is a reminder for them that there is still work to be done. In Jeff Todal's office at the University of Oregon, you'll find this article on Jeanette Maples' murder posted to a file cabinet. He says it's a reminder of what he's fighting for. Jeanette Maples was found dead in the McAnulty family home off of River Road in 2009. Police say McAnulty and her husband beat and starved the girl.
It's a painful, tragic memory, and
okay.
You know, child.
Okay, so the fucking husband was a bitch who also joined in on beating a child that was not his child, probably because she fucking said so. This woman, bro, this woman ruined so many lives. So many lives. There's so much connection to ruin between everybody. I don't even remember the fucking beginning dude, the Jeff dude, the fucking biker gang dude. Like,
It's neglect in all of its forms continues to happen.
Todal is the co-director of the Center for the Prevention of Abuse and Neglect at the university. They started 90 by 30, an initiative that aims to reduce child abuse in Lane County by 90% by the year 2030. On their website, nomoreLaneCounty.org, anyone can learn how to be part of the solution.
This is a solvable problem. We can get to a place in Lane County where neglect is the exception. And it's right now very close to the rule, actually.
Todal says after Jeanette's murder, there was an explosion of services to fight child abuse. He says more organizations have stepped up and come up with more ways to help keep kids safe.
We all felt something when that happened. And some of us, I think, felt so discouraged that we get immobilized. And then some of us felt really invested in doing something about it.
Right now, Todal says he's focused on making sure another child doesn't go through what Jeanette Maples did.
We're working on that. Lots of people are working on that, but there's a lot of work to do.
Angela was sentenced to death in her 2010 trial, but her sentence was later changed to life in prison without the possibility of parole after an appeal in July of 2019.
Angela McNulty, who starved and tortured her 15-year-old daughter to death, was convicted in 2011.
Did you hear what the man just said? He just said she was convicted. They were going to give her the elimination penalty. And instead, she wanted life in prison. In that situation, I don't even know what I would choose. Even though you in there for life, and no matter how much good behavior you do, at the end of the day, you took a life. You took the life of your spawn. You took the life of your child. And even if I'm getting the story wrong, right? And even if she's the child of the previous woman who had passed, it's still the fact that you took the life of a child. 15 or 3 or newborn. You still took the life. She was brought here. You took her away from here. Death or the life, but I don't even know what I would recommend. Actually, no, the death penalty, because she don't even need to be. What reform is that woman going to have after eliminating her own child? What else would she give to society? To her family, to the dude who got convicted as well, the bitch, to the eliminated baby? What anything does she have to give? And I don't normally think this about people. I believe everybody got something. Everybody can provide something. But these type of people, these people who kind of like give up and skirt and play with people's lives, I don't believe that they have much to give. There's nothing, you can't look me in the face and I have a conversation with her and I'm bound to gain some insight on why the fuck she did what she did. There's no possible way. There is nothing that you can teach me, tell me, make me understand about what it is that you did. You did what you did, you fucked up, and for whatever reason, you thought that life in prison was a better option. For whatever reason. I don't understand. I ain't gonna lie, if I was one of them women in that prison, I'd have been dogging her shit. Especially how many women be going through what they be going through in prison. Like losing their children, assault inside of the jailhouse system with the guards and all that jazz. Like passing on STDs, whether they want to be touched or physically, messed with or not. All that stuff. But mainly the women who be losing their children. Bro, do you understand how much foot the ass would have been on this woman, bro? Do you understand how many paws would have got put on her off the daily basis? And I ain't even trying to condone it, but like, you would have got swaddled up. You would have went to sleep. We'd have swaddled you up. And then I'd have did the same shit you did to her and put the iodine on you and try to make everything fly by. And the guards probably would have let it fly too, because they be going through their own drama.
And has sat in a Wilsonville prison ever since. Short time ago, a Lane County judge signed an order that threw out her conviction and her death sentence. Senior Circuit Court Judge J. Burdett Pratt ruled today to vacate the conviction and death penalty. Judge Pratt says her attorneys failed to adequately represent her during the trial. In today's ruling, Judge Pratt says her defense team was rushed and unprepared. They had just finished a...
Hold up. My fault for yawning, y'all. I'm making this video after getting off work. Let me ask y'all a question. So I had a question earlier for y'all, and I got one more. And y'all probably know what I'm about to ask. What the fuck would you say as the defense for this woman? What would you say? And the only reason I'm asking is because usually I got like maybe a little, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't got shit. I don't know a goddamn thing. I don't got it. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have botched it on purpose. You did it, gang. There is so much evidence that you left in that house is ridiculous. It's the fact that you continuously thought that you was going to put your hands on this child and nobody was going to say nothing. Nobody at no point was going to be like, she a little too thin. The bruises on her body are black. She's missing flesh on her leg. Might want to go check that out. Like, I don't get it, bro. I don't.
A massive 114-day trial for two cop killers when they took up McNulty's case. Judge Pratt's draft ruling says the jury was never provided neuropsychological evidence to better understand the why, that her mental health and own personal trauma was not presented in the case. As for the stepfather, Richard McNulty, he pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of murder by and was sentenced to life in prison.
She is serving her time at the Oregon State
Wait. We are 22 minutes into the video and y'all are just now deciding to check on her mental state and use that as some sort of defense. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. Let me be the judge. Let me have been the judge, bruh. It wouldn't have mattered, and I'm not biased. The prosecution gave me enough evidence to tell me that this woman is guilty. This man is guilty by a shadow of a doubt. We went into their house and found these items in both homes. 47-minute drive. Both homes, the old one and the new one. We found blood, we found flesh, we found belts, we found sticks, we found torture items, we found everything that we needed to pack this shit up. Bro, y'all, my fault for the pause it. I gotta say my fault, because there's people who gonna be like, why you pause so much? Why you talk so much? Imagine being the prosecution, and then imagine being the defense. Imagine being the defense when the prosecution comes up to put the evidence on the little table before the judge. You know how they put it out and then they label it and they got the little tags on them and shit. Imagine being the defense and trying to defend versus this full fucking cornucopia of fucking sticks and twigs and belts and spoons and pots and all this other shit. That, bro, imagine bagging up the flesh of the little girl and using that flesh and putting that separated flesh on the table as a prosecution item to prove that this woman is guilty. And tell me that you would believe that something about her mental stability or past situations was a reason that gives her the right to put her hands on and profusely beat this child. Please, y'all, please in the comments tell me there is nothing I would have been able to. I would have looked at the evidence on that table, and I would have looked at her, and I would have real life walked out. I'm not gonna lie, I would have walked out. Bro, you brought me here for nothing, bro. There is nothing I can do. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. She did that shit. She did it. There's nothing we can do. I'm sorry. I ain't got nothing for you. I don't. I under no circumstances do I have something to help you in this match. Bro, I would have looked at her so disgusted as her defense attorney, bro. Even if I was employed by the state, and they'd have been like, hey, defense, what's your opening statement? Do you have anything to say? Given the items that are found in front of us here and in front of the jury today. And I'd have been like, no, it's open and shut. Y'all do what y'all gotta do. Like
Penitentiary's Coffee Creek Correctional Facility in Wilsonville, Oregon. Richard was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for at least 25 years. He was sent to Oregon State Penitentiary's Snake River Correctional Institution in Ontario, Oregon, the largest multi-security prison in Oregon State. Anthony Maples filed a lawsuit against the state of Oregon on Jeanette's behalf. He was outraged that DHS had been contacted multiple times about suspected violence, and they did not do a complete investigation.
Portland attorney David Paul filed a suit Monday with Lane County Circuit Court targeting DHS for failing to responsibly respond to multiple reports over 4 years of abuse.
Well, the goal of the lawsuit and others like it are to hold DHS accountable.
It's the crazy part about the past couple of videos that we've seen with them is the fact that the beginning of the shit starts with the family, the mother, the father, whoever did this particular crime. But the people who really start to piss you off as the video hits around these marks, like when it get like 75 to like 85% through, it's the fucking government, bruh. Cause it's either the DHS or the fucking feds, and somebody would be on some full ass bullshit when it come to these kids, bro. And it's just crazy. Ain't the goal for like the corrupt people in the world is to start with the children? If you keep fucking plucking them off, you can't even start with them. The baby was 15. She had a bright future. You don't know what she could have did for the world. You don't know what she could have done to be like a productive member of society and make a big change. She could have did all those things that she wanted to do and still been able to write her poetry, and she can't do none of that shit. And you telling me that at the end of all this, that we are now going to shift from her to DHS. Yes, they should be held accountable, but they should be held accountable after the person who took the little girl off the earth is taken care of first. Life and death penalty and all that shit would not have been, no. Ooh, bro, let her be in like a fucking a third world country prison, bro. They would have treated her exactly like she treated her. It would have been beatings and you in solitary by yourself. You can't talk to nobody, bro. Wait, come on,
While
bro.
state inaction was a substantial factor in Maples' death, this case follows a successful $2 million settlement that Paul represented. Twin children injured as a result of poor state foster care.
I want the state to take better care of people and children that are at risk.
Despite her confidence in Paul, Lynn McAnulty has hesitation because of who the money could go to.
Yeah, speaking hypothetically, a father would be in the first tier of eligible beneficiaries.
Meaning a majority of the money could go to Maples' biological father, a man who wasn't in Jeanette's life for years, if the jury says he is eligible.
You would look first tier to the parents and second tier to surviving siblings.
The siblings who witnessed her abuse, Lynn hates to think they'd have potential to get nothing. The Attorney General's office will represent DHS, but they refuse to comment and now have 45 days to submit a response.
You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, and I'm trying to be part of the solution. Sometimes the only place for the biggest agency in the state to be held accountable is when the little people bring them in front of a court and jury.
Now, Maple's biological father lives in California. In February, he filed a court petition to represent Jeanette's estate, but because of criminal history, that petition was denied.
The state of Oregon later settled the suit for $1.5 million.
Roughly 100 people attended Jeanette's funeral at Major Family Funeral Home in Eugene. However, her father Anthony and her 2 older brothers were not in attendance. Jeanette's younger sister and brother were also not able to attend as they had been placed in state custody after her death. Jeanette's step-grandparents, Dennis and Lynn, were the closest family members to go to the funeral. One of Jeanette's former classmates read one of Jeanette's poems out loud at the service. She wrote that if she could fly, she'd go to Portugal and France because of her mother's heritage. And after visiting those 2 countries, she would fly to heaven and back home.
She still kept a G for the parents too. She still was on. She even wrote a poem about the. I can't, y'all. I appreciate y'all for watching, bruh. But this shit here, this one is unmatched with the bullshit, bruh. Telling you right now. When y'all watch this video, bruh, when I put this video out, bruh, I ain't gonna lie, the whole hey man, don't be doing all that talking. Shut the fuck up, bruh. Cause this one needed to get talked about, bruh. The awareness for these kids and what's going on with these kids, it's not enough, bro. It's not enough. We got people out here stealing people out here unaliving people, and then we gotta worry about people like this eliminating kids, and the kids don't even be doing. Bro, there's nothing that little girl could have done that would have warranted that much beating. Torture. Because I keep saying beating. Like, beating is what happened to us in the 90s. Torture. That was torturing the baby. I will see y'all on the next one, bro.
Too much dying, too much crying, too much. See the divine, not enough. Saying you fine, too much. Now what's on mine, too much. Get on your grind, not enough. Cause it take time, precision.